Calling to order the meeting of the Wiscasset Historic Preservation Commission on Thursday, the 3rd of October. The first item on the agenda is to approve the meeting minutes, which apparently I have forgotten to forward to the board. So we'll leave that till next time.
Yep.
Postpone that to next time.
I approve.
And the next on the agenda is time for public comment on non-agenda items. Wiscasset citizens attending the Historic Preservation Commission meeting are encouraged to discuss any non-agenda item. Please limit your time to 5 minutes. Is there anybody who wishes to comment at this time? Nobody? Go on to the next, which is consideration for an amendment to the COA for additions, renovations at 12 4th Street. And before we consider that amendment, I just would like to say that, to read to you, to reaffirm our role, the purpose of this ordinance is to provide a framework within which the residents of the town of Wiscasset can protect the historic, architectural, and cultural heritage of significant areas, buildings, structures, landmarks, and sites in the town, while accepting compatible new construction. The heritage and economic well-being of the town will be strengthened by preserving its architectural and historic setting, conserving property values in unique areas, fostering civic beauty, and promoting the use of historic or architecturally significant buildings for the education and welfare of the citizens of the town of Wiscasset. The intent of this ordinance is to assist property owners in maintaining the architectural integrity of historic resources within the town. Once destroyed, these historic resources cannot be replaced. With that having been said, can everyone hear? Frank and Linda.
Yes.
We're here to consider and approve your the change in location of your parking pad.
Right.
Can I put it that way?
The reason why, to our horror, is that the property line for the telecommunication is actually 10 foot on our property that we thought was on our property. The fence is on their property along with the 10 feet of what we thought, where we were gonna put the pad is on their property. So we could not do it. This is where there's a 0 lot line.
Mm-hmm.
The property line. Yeah, so, and I'm disabled, so there's
Yeah.
no.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And you got the curb cut, I understand.
Yes,
No problem.
approved by the city, everybody.
Well, it's sort of after the fact, and I'm sorry about that. We had a discussion about going forward, how to prevent this happening. However, it's happened. I would entertain a motion unless there's further discussion.
I move that we approve the changes to the COA at 12 4th Street for Frank and Linda. Second.
Thank you. Further discussion? All those in favor? Thank you. It's unanimous. Thank you for coming in, you Harrises.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
The back is looking beautiful. Doing a really nice job. Thank
Well,
you.
thank you.
Yeah.
We're trying to make some updates.
Or deal with the weeds next year.
Yeah.
You'll deal with weeds all the time.
No, we're trying this year.
And the gate looks pretty in the back. I like
Well,
it.
that's a historic gate.
I know,
So-
I know. It's great.
Right, so we wanted to do something that would fit in.
Are you just going to, you poured the driveway and where the grass was, are you just going to plant sod or what are you
No,
guys doing?
remember on our COA, we're going to put
We're putting the historic door garden
the door
Yeah.
in the cave.
and then we're putting pavers there.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
pavers, but then around where the fence is going to be, that'll be plantings.
Yeah.
We'll also have a ball and chain
A gate
closed
closure.
gate, which is pathetic to
Oh,
the
very cool.
18th century. And unfortunately, that area is owned by our next door neighbor. We can't do anything.
Do you guys know, have you seen the property lines? Because I can send you the plans.
I've seen them, and that's why.
You
it
came in
was-
with the title search?
Yeah, it was shocking. I thought,
Because there was a plan and survey done a couple of years ago, I'm trying to look on the date on this, on 2012, that kind of outlined it. I can send that to you. It makes it a little bit more defined, rather easier to read than off of your deed. It was done by a surveyor.
Actually, this was
That'd be
done
great.
in
Yeah.
the one we
Yeah.
had, I think, was done in 2012.
Was it?
Yeah, it was a
Yeah,
number
but
one.
it's easier to read.
Yeah, maybe you can some.
Yeah, because it lays out and it gives you like a little key on which directions things are. And it has exactly where, like, easements may be and such. It's better to do that than to go on somebody's word out.
And we looked for pins, but we couldn't find
We
them.
may not find pins. Sometimes pins are within trees or
The
a
sink?
stone. Yeah, so there are a couple of varying things, so, yeah, the little deeds read well.
And there's no easement in your deed for the yacht club right away, right?
In our deed, there's a right of way if they can get to the extended street once it's built. I mean,
Right.
there's supposed to be a street there
Mhm.
that could be extended. It's not there now.
Into the water.
And
No, there's no easement written into your deed. That's a thing that's written into your deed, that they would have an easement
Yeah.
like this
This
lot
would
and like
be-
that. No, there's no easement.
Yeah, this would be.
If the city of Wiscasset took Middle Street and kept going,
It used to go through.
okay, and maybe it was over the water, but then they could go there, like across the corner of the property,
Mhm.
to get to the street. But there's no street.
Mhm.
Yeah, the street used to extend down there, and then there were docks.
Okay, so maybe if the city builds it again, then I guess they can do it.
Now, we've got a shared driveway with our next door neighbor.
Right, yeah,
Yeah.
that's on Nicole's,
Yeah.
deed,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but we were having the public just, they could have had a picnic in our backyard, and so
Oh,
time and time again, people just walking. So we thought the gate would be,
That's good. Yeah, there's no written easement for anybody on that gate side, so that's yours. Yeah, oh, angle too.
Yeah, it's kind of odd.
Great, thank you.
all right,
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in, guys.
Yeah, and I think I have your email, it's on your COA, I'll
Yeah.
send you that survey
Oh, I
so that you
appreciate
guys have a
that.
better idea of your own property line. It's
Really?
easier to then try to distinguish 15 rods this way and, you know, how that reads.
all right, and then we'll compare it to what we have, and make sure we're right.
Thank you.
Yeah,
you, guys.
quite
Good to see
welcome.
you.
Thanks for coming in this
Yeah.
evening.
Thank you.
Glad it wasn't raining.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, so continuing discussion on ordinance updates.
Yeah, we did. We approved.
Yes, all three.
Yep, we raised.
Yeah, all done. Before you move to that, do you want to talk about Jim, the fowls fence?
That actually
Is that old
would
business?
come under new business, I would think.
Okay.
Uh,
That's fine.
And there's the latest
Thank you.
iteration.
So much.
I knew you'd be thrilled.
Oh, colors.
Yeah. Okay, we're creeping up on this.
Yep, we are.
Page 4. Please note the clever paper use. My new printer will do both sides without me having to sit there. We wanted to include under definitions, definition for preservation, and the clearest one that we found seems to be from the Castine ordinance.
Mhm.
And it's the protection, conservation, maintenance, and safeguarding of historic places.
Where are you, I'm sorry?
Page 4, in red.
Got it.
things in red are things that we're proposing.
Do you have another copy so I could follow?
I can give you,
I can forward a copy to you electronically.
Okay, thank you. The ordinance review committee is not going to be meeting until the fourth Monday in October.
Yeah.
So I was thinking if you could give me your draft.
I will.
Because some of those people have never been on the ordinance review committee before. They haven't had any dealings with this ordinance, so they could work on it, read it at least, and be familiar with it
Before
the meeting.
Okay.
Thank you.
So that would be the fourth Monday?
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's
28th.
good time.
28.
So are we happy with that definition? Okay, the next one is viewscape. And the referral to that was Castine again. And the definition is the public setting in which a structure, site, or landmark is located. It is the immediate visible neighborhood of the street or public land associated with such a structure, including such things as fences, sidewalks, and lights. A viewscape is not synonymous with scenic views. For example, water views possessed by individual property owners, but encompasses the public view of a street, neighborhood, or public land. Every kind of structure is considered in the context of a viewscape. A district may include many viewscapes.
I like it.
I do too.
I don't see any problems.
I hate it, but I'm not voting.
Why
You don't like it? I like it better than what we had, so.
We didn't have anything.
Exactly.
Well, we sort of had visually compatible.
Right.
That's,
Which is a different thing.
Yeah, no. I mean, your viewscape would be as you, for example, as you look from the common down Main Street.
I know what it
That's your
means.
viewscape,
I just-
yeah.
It's the kind of modern language that drives me up the wall.
I think it fits into the conversation around a historic district versus a historic home here and there in a
Mhm.
neighborhood.
That's what I like
Because
about
that's
it.
the conversation that, you know, I think people get stuck on, why is this a historic neighborhood when there's, you know, all these old houses and one house that's not old?
Right.
But it's part of the viewscape.
If anyone wants to leave in, feel free. Originally,
Wait, did you want to say something?
I just
I'm
want to
sorry.
say I'm not following because my numbers are different than your numbers, and so,
oh, yeah, well, the trouble is that
Yeah, these are amended.
but can you say the chapter?
okay, it's under definitions just above visually compatible.
Can you tell me the number?
Yeah.
10.2, it's under definitions.
And
Starts
it's-
on page 2, I think.
Right.
Yeah, it's 10.2.1. Terms defined. And then those are alphabetical.
Yeah.
No,
And now we're on 10.3.1.10, correct?
no, I want to give Judy a chance to,
10.2.
it's under definitions.
Mhm.
You got
I got
definitions?
definition.
Okay, so you go down through structure and violation,
It's actually right before
And-
10.3?
and this is what we want to add to the definitions.
Right.
Gina, can you take that outside, please?
Yeah, no, I am, I'm just in the.
So what we're proposing, Judy, is to remove visually compatible, but add viewscape, the definition that Susan just read.
And if you give me your email, I can send all this to you after we've discussed.
Do you want it right now?
Why not? I'm paying attention right now.
Be aware that you are on YouTube
I
and we will
know,
be sending it out
yes,
towards
I know,
everybody.
yeah, she's very aware. Hey Jude, Heyjude,
Yeah,
Flanagan, Flanagan. There are a lot of Hey Judes out there, so Flanagan at Gmail.
okay, thank you. Okay, then, visually compatible, you still want to have come out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Going along to 10.3.1.10. Historic preservation gifts, grants, and funding. The only change in that we'd like to make is to delete the words received in the current year.
I agree. Do you agree, Leslie? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay? 10.3.1.11, administrative support. What changes there is that everything after planning and codes department gets deleted and substitutes town administrator and codes department. And that was one from way back when.
That's good.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
We don't have a town administrator, we have a town manager.
And we have a town administrator, Kathy Honorado.
Oh, that's right, oh, I'm sorry.
I don't think we can lay this one on our town manager.
Okay, no, I just didn't know
Further along, 10.4.4.1.
Wait a minute.
On page 12.
Okay, the requirements of the ordinance shall apply to any structures within properties wholly or partially within that district. And that's an old one that I think maybe came from the ORC,
that doesn't sound familiar.
but it's an addition. I only put our additions in red.
I must have missed the ink. Where are we? Are we
10.
10.4.4.1?
Yeah,
Okay, gotcha.
the underlined.
Okay, gotcha.
Are you saying that this is not an addition recommended by the commission, but this
No.
is something that?
This is something that has been approved already.
Yes.
Okay,
But I want everybody to be aware, since we'll be sending the whole thing in,
okay.
because I don't think you were around for that first, neither one of you were around for that
Right,
first
no,
go around.
No.
No,
So are you leaving that in or taking it out?
that's already been approved. You said.
It went through a public hearing,
Mm-hmm.
but we can take it out. It hasn't gone before the town. We have the choice of taking it out and representing the entire ordinance as updated.
I think that should stay in. I think that's right.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I do too. It seems to make sense.
Yeah.
It does. Clarifies.
But in the interest of transparency, I think it was New Orleans, it might have been Charleston. They had differing requirements for non-contributing structures. Non-contributing structures are structures built within the last 50 years, which would lead to updating. For instance, house that was built 49 years ago would not qualify this year,
Right,
but
every
would
year.
qualify next year, which is sort of a nightmare. But it's just something to think about in the future, maybe.
Yeah, that's complicated, I mean,
I think it gets very top-heavy.
it does.
Noyes has a historic district commission that's about, I think there's something like 70 people on
Oh,
it.
just, 10
Yeah.
times, or 20 times, 40 times. 40 times.
Whatever.
Yeah.
So it's just maybe something for us to think about at some point.
Yeah,
Uh,
we can,
I know, I
we
just-
can revisit that.
Yeah, I know I just sprang that on you.
Yeah, no, that's just revisit that.
The other thing that we put in way back when, 2 years ago, is 10.5.1.3. A certificate of appropriateness is not needed for minor activities, which will be reviewed by the code enforcement officer. And then there's a list of them.
Okay. Okay. Rereading this.
My objection to this is such as, if we're going to submit this again, such as but not limited to. The definition of minor alterations is incidental changes or additions to a building or site features which will neither result in substantial changes to any significant historic features, nor obscure such features and are easily reversible. In no event shall any change be deemed minor when, in the determination of the code enforcement officer, such change shall alter the historic character of the building or site. You see how this one comes around in a circle?
Yeah.
Are you loving this? Are you seeing what we're getting at, what we go through?
Are you asking me?
I'm asking everybody, you're all being so quiet.
Well, what you just touched on was a question I had highlighted, so.
Okay,
What I'd like to see is if there was a way, like if there's a questionable one, can they come up before us prior to? I mean, like if the code enforcer isn't around, or they just want definition.
so they would,
Because we're working on
Sure.
encouraging
I,
to come
I
ahead.
just asked that Leslie and Pam put on their mics because I can't.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Can you hear me
oh,
now?
is that a little better?
Is that-
Yes, thank you.
All right, sorry about that. I like this I like the idea of this because I think the nugget of this is really good, but I'm a little concerned about the list underneath. I think that this could be refined because replacement in kind is tricky. It would have to, replacement in kind of windows or doors which do not alter architectural or historic character. That's really vague to me. Somebody could say, oh, I'm replacing an 8-panel door
Where are you?
right here. Replacement in kind of existing
Oh, yeah,
exterior
sorry.
siding, windows, or doors which do not alter architectural or historical character.
Okay. But if somebody wants to replace the window that is there with the window that is there with exactly the same materials, same window, if it's a wooden window,
Sure. But
they don't have to come before us for authorization, is what it said.
right, but I think in kind is vague enough that not everybody would understand in kind would mean you've got a 6/6 or a 12/12, it has to be the same configuration, the same, So
Okay?
I'm just wondering if
So-
this does need to be clarified.
Do we need to put under definitions in kind?
Ooh, that is a good point.
Or do we want to not include windows in this as a replacement in kind of windows? Do we want to let windows stand on their own? Windows are
I think we need to add in-kind definition, because
Okay.
I think that would be helpful
Yeah.
for,
Okay, in kind.
and in-kind would be with
In kind
same for same.
definition. Okay. So that would be under historic significance. No, we'll slot that in there. I don't know if I've seen. I don't think I have. Okay, remembering that this is, shall not be needed for minor activities. And this was something that was developed, you don't have it, Judy, at all. This was something that was developed, I think Al Contra was the one who was, I can't remember, anyway. Alterations or additions not visible from a public way. I'm not sure that that should even be reviewed by the code enforcement officer. Because it doesn't, except as you might have to give a building permit.
Right.
But if it's not visible from the public way, it's not our,
It's not a dose, yeah.
so I would say get rid of A, but,
Do you get rid of it or do you leave it as an example?
I think you leave it because it's calling out that you don't need a COA for alterations or additions not visible from a public
you
way.
don't need a COA for anything not visible from a public way. If it's an alteration, or an addition, or a new building, if it's not visible from a public way, it's not our concern.
Right.
So we can leave it there if you want. You know,
I think for clarity's sake, it doesn't, I think.
Yeah, these are the things that we're not concerned with.
Right.
okay. Replacement in kind, we're going to define in kind.
Yes.
And I just think if they're saying minor activities, replacing your windows is not a minor activity.
No,
Really
but,
big activity.
but if you're replacing your windows,
Right.
as the windows are, if I'm replacing the windows
Mhm.
in my classic 1792 house, in 12 over 8 or whatever the hell they are, too many panes, in wood,
Okay.
that is, so what? I mean, there's no reason for me to come before us now.
Right, it's like the customs house just restored their windows.
Exactly.
They didn't need to come in front of us, and, you know, they've done a phenomenal job
Oh,
in restoring and not having to come in front of us. That
because they're restored.
because they're restoring, they're doing it already, they're doing it.
Okay, so we're still discussing the windows or doors. So your feeling is, okay, I guess I'm looking at where you draw the line between what's there that's getting replaced by what's there.
Mhm.
If a Christian door is being replaced with a Christian door, why is that different from a window?
Okay.
If the siding,
As long as in kind is, as long as people understand what in kind means, then.
Yeah, so we'll define that.
Yeah.
okay, we may revisit this before we're done. Repair, replacement, or repointing of exterior masonry walls in a consistent manner which does not alter architectural or historic character. And heaven help anybody who's got a
They're doing this,
masonry wall.
they're doing this a year on the customs house.
I know.
Yeah.
I know, I've got two sides, and I'm not even looking at them, I'm just saying,
It's not,
good paint job.
not that hard to read points. You have to get the right tools.
I don't do letters.
Oh, it's okay. I'll get one. I don't mind those, yeah. Yeah, I would say leave that in.
Placement of sheds or other outbuildings or fences not visible from a public way. Constructed appropriately in historic style, manner, and structure of the main structure and the neighborhood. Appropriate construction shall not include prefab, plastic, canvas, or metal structures.
I think the word permanent needs to be added.
Okay, before sheds,
Yeah.
placement of
Or
permanent sheds.
permanent placement of sheds and or outer buildings. But that actually, or no, not permanent, guess I should say temporary. Permanent placement, you would need to come to us.
Temporary placement, you would not.
You would not, so it's temporary.
Temporary sheds and temporary outbuildings.
Yeah, like if something's on pallets, or there's no footings, there's nothing that's gonna temporary.
A good sneeze will move it.
Yep,
But this says not visible from a public way, and we're already saying, it's already saying in section A, alterations or additions not visible from a public way. So if they're not visible from a public way, why should it matter? Whether they're temporary or permanent. I'm just wondering. I mean, I think D
Nice.
troubles me.
Yeah.
Because I think you're combining a bunch of different things. You're talking about sheds and outbuildings, and fence is not visible from a public way. They're already saying it's not, you don't need to COA.
so you wanna break it down,
Break
So-
it down.
break it apart?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or drop it completely, because you're saying
Yeah.
alterations or additions not visible from a public way.
Yeah, I think,
So we can just drop D?
I think it's redundant. I mean, if you're someone's trying to mention somewhere in here, the way fences need to be constructed, that's a whole nother thing.
But if they're not visible from a public way, we don't care.
Exactly.
So let's drop D.
right, so right off the bat, A
Yeah,
covers everything.
right, it covers everything.
Okay. Yay. Oh, I love it when we can get rid of stuff.
Me too.
You know, or, I know we just got rid of stuff. Or if you leave out on D, if you leave out not visible from a public way, if you take that out and you put temporary placements, then you're covered.
Temporary replacement?
Yeah, like if somebody wants to just like put up a little shed, not a permanent structure,
Then you are going to have to define temporary.
Yeah, I think
Big
it's
time.
complicated.
no footings.
No footings and not, there's a lot of stuff around that has no footings and it's been there for forever.
Yeah.
Incidentally, the courthouse is going to move that shed.
No.
We love the Lincoln County Commissioners.
All right, so we can get rid of that.
I think D can go away, but I think we need to add fences to B, replacement in kind. Because existing exterior siding, windows, doors, or fences which do
Okay.
not alter architectural or historic character.
So you want to add it to B?
Yeah, what do you think? 'Cause
I
fences
I
are-
agree.
If they're in kind, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Nice catch. Okay, good. Again, demolitions, partial demolitions or relocations of non-contributing resources.
I don't like this.
Not
I don't like it,
from a public
I want
way.
it to go away.
Because
Relocations.
I mean, my feeling is that all of this is covered by alterations or additions not visible by the public
I
eye.
agree.
I don't think we have to nitpick every single alteration.
Yeah,
I agree.
Um,
Okay, so.
So E and F go away.
Go away.
and we go down to G and make G,
Removal of
D.
non-historic elements, concealing original architectural features.
okay,
Um,
that's a little tricky in itself.
That's
Like,
what I'm thinking. I'm not thinking that that's really a minor
that's kind of major,
thing.
but we would love people to do it.
Yeah,
Yeah, and we would applaud them for doing that.
and we would supply them with all kinds of information on how to do it.
Oh, yeah.
So do you remove it?
Yeah,
Okay.
so this new thing,
We're up to ABC.
Yep,
goes down to
Fences
A,
to
B,
B.
C instead of D, E, F, G.
Yeah.
Yeah,
easier.
and add fences to B.
Yep.
Okay.
Good.
Terrific. Okay, on page 14, which is 10.5.2.1,
Got it.
application forms and fees.
Yep.
And that would it be, ORC, we did not have a planner, so they wanted to take out planning and codes department
Yep.
and put in town office. However, basically, it's Bruce. So it should be, I think, the codes enforcement officer, since he's the one who knows the details of the ordinance and,
Right, like when I went for my COA, it was the code enforcement, I basically went to the code enforcement first. And then he said, oh, you're in the historic district, boom, boom, and then he handed off. So he
Okay,
would
so-
know, he should know which applications for any type of work to be done would require a COA.
so we get rid of planning and keep codes department and get rid of town office.
Well, the codes department isn't here that day, because he doesn't work every day. I mean, they can actually get
Judy.
the,
If the budget had gone and everything had worked out, we would at least, I consider, still have a planning office. We would have had a temporary planner, one day a week, doing. So I question why you would remove that, and that holds a lot of weight if we were to get a planner, a full-time.
Leave it in?
That would be my suggestion.
Planning and codes department.
Works for me.
Okay.
And you had eliminated it somewhere else too.
The ORC.
The ORC eliminated it
Everywhere,
because we didn't have
no planner.
one. We'll see what they say.
Right, I mean,
Right.
of course, town office at least is general enough that someone
Yeah,
else
but-
in the town office that can direct them.
Probably not,
Kathy does a good job.
if she's not there.
right,
Okay.
if she's not
And
there.
I really hesitate to load anything more on her.
Yes, I agree. Okay.
She has 5 hours a week,
Correct.
no, for all departments.
God bless you.
And I think we've been claiming a bit more than our share. So, okay, town office comes out of there, and we just leave it at planning and codes.
Right, yeah, I mean, they can get the,
Yeah.
they can get the forms, they can download the forms on our
Yeah.
website as well. I think, does that need to be added?
Nice. Shall be obtained from planning and codes department or download it
Yeah.
electronically from website.
Yeah, Wiscasset.org website.
town website.
Town website, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, most people, I mean, if they're reading this, they're probably reading it online anyway, and then they can just,
Same thing.
yeah.
for the town.
If they could make a link to that.
We've gone around and around and around on 10.5, 22, and I'm sorry to bring it up again. But one of the things that's come through is simplify.
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
really complicated.
Okay, I think that's, and our present thing that we voted on and we've been doing is also complicated when you read it.
Mm-hmm.
My feeling would be to a completed application for certificate of appropriateness shall be submitted on or before the 15th of the preceding month for consideration at the first meeting. And on the last day of the preceding month for consideration on the third Thursday. And there's gotta be some way to clean up the language on this.
You know, it's so hard.
I know, it really is
You've
hard.
got freaking holidays in there and.
Well,
you know,
then,
it's-
holidays are just gonna have to, people are just gonna have to
You know, I mean,
put up with holidays.
it's, the only reason I can keep, the only way I can keep track of it is because I wrote it down and I pinned it to the top of the Facebook page. So that's my reference, and
Mhm.
that's like, and so, like, right now, there's like a post that went out right now that our next meeting is, 2 weeks from today.
Mhm.
And get your applications in on the 8th of November. So that's how I keep track of it. It's complicated wording here.
Yeah, it is. When we were only meeting once a month, it worked.
Yeah,
But people have, I just don't wanna go back to that and have people have to wait. I just really don't think it's fair.
oh, I agree, especially, when you get into the seasons where
Yeah,
now it's the time to get in, that's why we're hoping.
now we have nothing for the rest of October.
Right, so hopefully, and so I did put something on the website that said, now's the time, get ready for your spring,
Mhm.
get your applications in, get your questions in, now's the
Yeah,
time. So
now's the time.
hopefully,
Time to do some research.
so if there was a way to,
Judy, ideas? Anybody, ideas?
All the rest of it.
I think it's important that it basically says that the commission shall consider each application within 30 days of the submittal, hold a hearing.
See, this whole thing is just screwy.
It is.
I want to delete this whole thing and rewrite it, but I'm not quite sure how.
All the other committees, when there's a holiday, we don't account for that in the ordinance. We just say meet on the first and the third Mondays,
Mm-hmm,
and applications have to be in 2 weeks before the
Mm-hmm.
meeting
mm-hmm.
that they're scheduled for. So, but it's understood that they won't meet on the first Monday if it's Columbus Day or.
Right, or Thanksgiving, or,
Labor
Okay,
Day.
so we just,
But
so
if
basically
we-
it's a general ordinance of timetable.
Okay, so then we would have,
So if you just,
then should, sorry about this. Should we then consider changing the ordinance to meet twice a month? Somewhere in here, people have to know, for instance, there's nothing coming up for October, so theoretically, we don't have to meet again this month. I'd
Oh,
like to finalize these, but
subject to, can we put like subject to availability, or subject to whatever?
No, what was the language you used, Jackie, that sounded?
Well, it's just that the committee meets the first and third Thursdays.
yes, but that commits us to the third Thursday when we
Right.
might not.
Right,
Do we
okay, you
want
only
to?
want to do it one, you want to leave it open, right?
Subject to weather and availability, and, or necessity.
I mean, it would be nice to not
Judy.
have to meet on Thursdays if we didn't have a COA review.
Right.
But
Oh, we got a lot of other stuff.
get this stuff, we have time to get this stuff done when, like, spring and summer hit and we don't have that.
You know,
Why don't you just do it
Judy?
twice a month in spring and summer?
Well, here we are in fall, we have twice a month, so.
No, but,
yeah. Judy,
this is one part of that language that I talked to you about today, that you read it and you go, huh? But a simpler version, kind of what she said was, what the budget committee says is, we'll meet, you know, to vote, and the chairman make a set, you can have a set the first of every month, but the chairman may call additional meetings when business has come before the,
They have that?
well, it's that simple a
Hmm.
theory that you could do.
So
Okay.
basically what we need to do, this is like application procedure. So basically, we need to focus on application procedure. So the application procedure is, your completed application has to be submitted 2 weeks prior to the meeting.
Right, because it has to get in the.
It doesn't have to say 30 days, 15 days, you know, or how many times we meet. It just means that they have to submit it how many days before we approve it, before the public meeting.
But Kathy said she needs at least 10 days to contact the butters.
Right.
She
Okay,
has a time requirement.
that's fine.
Okay.
so if they get it to us 15 days prior to, that gives Kathy a chance to notify butters, that gives us a chance to review and request any information that may not be in it, and it gives them still another 10 days to get that information to us, so that when the 15 days later comes, we meet, we talk, we discuss, yay or nay.
Okay.
So I don't think we need to get into semantics when we meet. I think it just means that we need to get into semantics on how many days before we meet, they submit.
Oh. So would
I mean, so-
something as simple as applications are due 15 days before
We meet.
the HPC meeting?
Yeah.
And let them figure that out by going to the online calendar to see
Yeah.
when our meetings are?
But then we have to go back and change the ordinance, which now only reads, we meet once a month, period. End of story, that's what it is. We have gone above and beyond that, as so often with this committee, because we feel sorry for people. It's a short
Because it's a short
construction
season, right.
season.
So, yeah.
Sometimes I don't quite understand why the need for replacement comes as such a shock to people.
These are things that you're aware of. There's been
Yeah.
water coming in.
I wish that, I sort of wish that people could do it little by little, but anyway.
You mean amend them?
No, 2 windows. To replace a whole house load of windows is hideously expensive.
Oh, God, yeah.
If you replace them 2 in the spring and 2 in the fall, take a deep breath and cut back on your Christmas presents, do the next 2 in the spring, the next 2 in the
Well,
fall.
we're only concerned with those windows that face the street.
I know, but there are a lot of windows that face the street.
There
I've
are.
got, what, 9 of them?
Yeah, pretty
I
much.
have three.
Mine.
Yeah,
4. 5.
yeah, but yours is small.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so are we gonna still chew over this?
I think we should chew on this.
It's a tough one.
I think we
Okay, I like Judy's idea, chairman will call if necessary.
Or as needed,
Right.
which is what a whole lot of,
But then we've gotta put
you've gotta have.
somehow we've gotta say, I don't know what we have to say.
There's a lot going on in
Typically,
this one.
HPC meets once a month, but an additional meeting can be added if necessary based on
Right, because
Sunday,
remember, we
Sunday.
only used to, even though we were meeting twice a month, we were only reviewing COAs once a month. And then we changed that,
Right.
so right now,
Okay, let's chew on this over the weekend.
Come
and-
back to it.
as our timetable stands, we're down to 2 times a month reviewing COAs.
Right.
But needing their information practically, you know, a month ahead of time.
You could leave it at 2 times a month and then cancel when there's no business. That's what others,
Yeah,
that's what planning board does.
yeah, let's mull it over.
Yeah. To be determined.
Mull over.
Thank you, I like that. Chairman will
Yeah,
have
and
the
so Judy,
necessary, thanks, Judy. 10.5.2.3, applications for minor alterations shall be reviewed by the code enforcement officer. And we're striking, and by the Historic Preservation Commission, because if it's minor and temporary, we don't care.
no, we don't. Alternative
Do we
procedure for
have
review
that,
of
do we have
installation.
minor and temporary definitions?
Oh, because it's just, yeah.
Minor alteration,
Installation
we've got.
or minor alteration and temporary alterations.
Okay, that's a whole different thing, it's signs only.
Exterior sign.
And this whole 10.5.2.3 gives me a headache.
I don't see
Oh my God, it's not
temporary,
covered, isn't it?
I don't see temporary or minor in our definitions. Do we need to add that?
I don't know why we're even
I would think temporary could be,
Well, everything's
Yeah.
temporary. Really?
minor alterations is in there
Right, okay.
already.
Okay, good.
If the applicant is not satisfied with the determinant of the code enforcer, the applicant shall be permitted to have the application reviewed by the commission?
Yeah.
Okay. Minor alterations?
See, this is about signs.
Yeah, and signs has
And
its
it's-
own freaking ordinance of
does.
size and everything. and
Yeah.
We just, you know, is it pretty? Is it fit the, I mean, shouldn't that be covered in the sign ordinance? No.
No, because you wouldn't want a sign like Dollar General downtown.
No.
I don't even want to go room.
I don't even want to cross the street from my house. Sorry. Welcome to the neighborhood.
Besides which, the sign ordinance is never enforced.
Oh, so these are like others, so these are like not just the temporary signs, like the art walk signs?
No.
No.
Okay, that's temporary sign, right, you don't care.
I think this 10.5.2.3 is just a horror. But I'm willing
Thank you, Jackie. God bless you.
to fling this out to you guys to chew over the weekend.
Yeah, I'd like to,
And,
because that, I can read
you
the
know,
sign ordinance, I'd like to, sorry, just to see what that says to
Yeah.
cross-reference,
Mhm.
you know? I think that's important, because I was just looking over the sign ordinance recently, I guess maybe when Tony was doing his stuff, that it just stuck in my head.
All right, we'll come back.
Well, this is a whole,
It took Deborah Scott 13 months to get a
10.5.2.3.
sign ordinance,
Yeah.
just so you know,
Really? Wow.
just so you know.
Okay. We should
After
look at
meeting
this.
twice a month, every month. I don't know how many
How
different
many
ways, I was 13 months,
13, okay.
after I was trying to come up with, signs of progress.
Well, if we can get
Oh.
the really
is that the
important
name
things
of your-
covered
the
in
name of your-
October that we can submit to them and mull over the other
No, we'll
ones.
look at theirs.
Let's focus on the really
Yeah,
hot ones, the hot ticket items,
okay.
because we're getting down to the wire here. Okay,
10.5.2.4. Addition would be, and this is again, anything that's underlined or struck out has already been through the ORC.
Okay,
The only thing we're doing is occasionally changing that now that we know more, or not agreeing to do it at all.
Okay.
Even though we wanted it in the first place.
yep, got it.
So the poor ORC will have the whole damn thing in front of them. Okay.
Change the jobs first. and
A, the applicant's name, address, and interest in the subject property, or if needed, the name and address of the applicant's authorized agent. Amazing that that was not in the original.
then. Wow.
And then B is sort of important. What was in there, the owner's name and address is different from the applicant's, and the owner's signature. And what we wanted to do was take that out and put in, if the applicant or authorized agent is not the owner of the property, the owner shall submit a letter authorizing the applicant or authorized agent to bring the request to the Historic
I
Preservation
think that's
Commission.
important.
And the history on this is that somebody came for COA, don't ask me who it was because I have no idea now. I think they were renting, maybe?
Dear.
Anyway, they appeared and we said, wait a minute, this isn't your house, you have no letter, we can't possibly
I know,
do anything, well,
I think.
we can't possibly do that.
Right, correct.
And so they came back the next week with necessary.
Okay.
But I sort of think that that's okay.
I like that.
Yes, the authorized letter from the
Yeah.
property owner, I would say that that's paramount.
And then we get to 10.6.1. Administrative.
Wait, what about G?
Ooh. All right, G. Photographs of the building shall be used, yes. We're changing may to shall.
Yes, please. Shall be used or required?
Shall be used to show the information, blah, blah, if the code enforcement officer and the commission deem them appropriate. They shall include the buildings involved. I think what happened before was they took the code enforcement officer out and the commission is deeming it appropriate. Well, it's on our application
Yeah.
form that,
Can we require those?
and, yeah,
Yeah, I'd rather change shall be used to shall be required.
okay, shall be. Well, just period.
We're agreed.
Photographs of the buildings may, or shall be used to show the information required in subsection 10.5.2.4.f above, period.
Period.
They shall include the buildings involved and the adjacent buildings, and just get rid of all of that,
Right.
deeming appropriate.
Yep,
Right.
Okay?
yes, got it.
Okay. On the, yes,
In H of that section where you have a site plan,
uh-huh,
you may want to add preferably scaled.
a site plan to scale, nice one.
Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah,
Since I
You don't know
just-
how that drives me up the wall.
okay. Yeah.
But Judy has a.
Judy, sorry.
I just asked him, would that increase the cost? And that is one of an issue that it's floating out there, the cost
It would increase the
Filling out.
cost.
and
Well,
application.
Would what
Not
increase the
by
cost?
that much,
You
it
just
just
need
means-
scale? No, you would just need to, like, if somebody gives us drawings, then they
Yeah.
can just say, this equals an
Well,
inch, and that, I mean, that's something I
That's
did on
something you
mine.
teach for a long while to little kids. Some people can do it easily, some people
A
can't.
site plan is your property. what's visible from the street that you have jurisdiction over, and that could be a survey. It could be a large-scale drawing that would cost money to create or would take time to create.
I don't think it's gonna cost money. As long as they show us something with dimensions that is as close to scale as possible. We're not asking anybody to put any money out of pocket if necessary. And we're not requiring a survey to be done because we know that it is an astronomical amount.
Yep.
And that would be,
I'm sorry, I don't know your name.
Peter Wells.
Peter West, okay.
But I
Thank you.
do know what you're saying, Judy, a site plan, I mean, we've seen people that just give us a little pencil sketch with like little stick figures, and, so a site plan might feel overwhelming to most folks, so how
well,
do you?
when they present it to us, if we need clarification on something, we send it back to them. You know,
What if
you
we
can just
said,
more define the parameters, then that's what we would need.
what if we just said a plan drawn to scale?
Well,
Site plan scares people because they think of subdivisions and,
I don't think so. I think site plan is appropriate because we're talking about the area that they're doing.
No.
good.
I think that's appropriate. And it gives, more information is better than less information. If there's
Mhm.
questions regarding the site plan, you know, like I just said, give us something. If we need more, we'll ask for it.
Have you defined the site plan in your?
I knew she was gonna say that.
Well, the planning board requires scale site plans, which usually are prepared by a surveyor.
right.
Yeah, but,
Nope, I don't have site plan. We can, do we need to define site plan?
Could you suggest maybe, you know, that they take a picture of their home from Google Earth or something? So they don't have to spend a fortune,
That's a good idea.
but they can
Well, that's
also
what we
see the
have.
houses in the area.
Like photographs of the buildings shall we use? I would hope that
I'm sorry, just start from the beginning, Gina.
I
Google
just
Earth.
said, you know, instead of a site plan, having just a photo from Google Earth or something.
Right,
So that, you know, you've got the whole space, you can see the neighbors on the various sides, where the
Right.
street is, all that kind of
and it
jazz.
costs nothing
And it costs nothing.
to, you know, to just sort of print out a Google Earth image, and it would give you a pretty good idea of the scale of everything in relation to everything, you know.
Well, yeah, that's why we would hope
Thinking
that would be
about
included in the
cost.
photographs, not in the site plan.
Right, but I think to Judy's point, a site plan does feel expensive, and most people are not going to be able to to prepare a site plan, a formal, it seems formal to me.
Well, when we look at our, please let me have one here. Oh, wait, I got one here. Like on our checklist. It's basically what's on our checklist.
Yeah,
That's what they're more or less going to be referring to.
Okay.
Site plan is A on our site plan, is prepare a sketch plan showing all buildings on the property, property boundaries, adjacent streets, adjacent buildings, walls, fences, walkways, outdoor lighting, and signs. I mean, if we were to take that definition and add that to our definitions of site plan, I think that would clear anything up. That's a sketch plan showing all the buildings of the property. We're not asking you to go out and get a survey, no. And that it's kind of like a double definition on our application, which is what they're looking at,
mhm.
which is what I think is important.
So in the definitions for site plan, we would say a sketched,
I would just call it a sketch plan,
A
because if
sketch,
you get it a site plan,
a
then
Google
you're
Earth
going
Yeah.
photograph.
Well, it
or
says
an
indicate
site-
location of proposed alterations or additions. So basically, that's how we, on our application, define site plan here. We can transfer it and add that to definitions if you want.
Peter,
And an aerial photograph from Google is not gonna show any
no.
site improvements.
Yeah, it's not gonna show property
It'll
lines or.
give you context, and it can show property lines if you press the right button on Google.
Yeah,
And in Wiscasset, the latest Google street map is from 2013, and there's been a lot of changes since then. Hopefully they'll drive around soon, but, you know, we can't ask them.
Okay, what if,
So do you wanna add site plan definition as on our,
well, I'm trying to sort of get away from more definitions.
okay,
What if we said a sketch plan
show it,
drawn to scale
well, we could just take this out,
and put in,
what we've got here.
yeah,
So, which is a sketch plan showing all buildings on the property, property boundaries, adjacent streets, adjacent buildings, walls, fences, walkways, outdoor
Yeah.
lighting and signs. So do you wanna replace that with that?
and other relevant elements, yeah.
Indicate location of proposed alterations or additions. And yeah, and then add, and all other relevant elements. Okay, so
Right.
if you do that, take it, it's box number one on our site plan.
Okay,
Are you good with that, Les?
Yeah, I think so.
does that work for you? No.
It does, but you may want to consider, rather than having them sketch out all the buildings around their property, they could use an aerial photograph from Google. for
Well, we have
something
that as well on our checklist.
All right,
We have
good.
photographs of the property, its context, detailed photos of the area of the proposed, providing historic photographs of the property. And I think, you know, photographs in general, which is number, letter G above that, you know, it says they shall include the buildings involved and adjacent buildings. So that's in G above the site plan
Right.
one.
And that shouldn't have to be included in the sketch plan. I don't think. If you have.
Okay.
Well, it's helpful.
Right.
Well, it is, but
Yeah.
if you have 5 buildings around your house, it's a lot of work to sketch that out and measure it.
Right.
I need your email too at the end of this.
Sure.
Oh, make him say it out loud.
He may not want to,
No problem.
just because you're out there. Okay, I have a thought. I think somewhere on our application form, we should include the definition of violation.
Oh, God, yes.
Because the Harrises, I think sincerely did not realize.
We don't
Because
have
they-
that.
You know, we don't have that on our application. I think we should, because not everybody has the entire ordinance. And not everybody is going to check what a violation is.
Right.
So if we put that in our, maybe the end of our application,
Please note,
yeah.
do we want to put it there? Or do we want to put it on their acceptance letter? Because their acceptance letter is,
Yeah, both.
okay, I like it.
It's nice, it's really clear. Because I think a lot of people go through the process and they may put their project on hold for 6 months or so. And that's another thing, do we have a time limit?
No.
Okay. So then it would be good to remind them if they change their mind after a year or two thinking about it, that they need to come up for another review.
How long are your approvals good for?
We don't have a time.
Forever.
No expiration
Unless
date.
it's, something that needs a building permit, where your building permit will expire. So that goes.
Yeah,
to-
but that's
Yeah.
outside
That's
us.
outside of us, so. We hope that they would do it in a timely manner, we're almost here, and we would love to do a before and after picture on our Facebook page or on our Instagram to get those things done. Okay, so that's just a side note.
Okay.
Back on track.
Moving on.
10.6.1.1. Notice to applicant, property owner, and abutters. I don't know why those are crossed out.
Yeah, I don't either. That
It
doesn't
makes no
make
sense.
Put
So
them back in.
leave in, okay. The town shall inform the applicant.
What they're applying to be notified.
Wait a minute. Before consideration of a certificate, the notice to applicant and all that really is a heading. Should be.
Yeah, that should be
It should be
bold or
caps.
something, or,
Yeah.
And
I think the
then
way this ordinance is written.
that should come before, it should be the
Yes,
next.
before consideration.
Yes, all right, that needs to be moved.
We did this, the applicant shall inform property owners. And then there was a whole hoorah nest about we couldn't enforce it, which is why the town has
Figure that.
put in a fee schedule of $25 plus $2 per abutting letter, which we protested fairly vigorously because we felt it was a bit much.
It is a bit much when you're working on construction of your home. I still think that that's a very high fee.
I do too.
And-
But
and I don't
That's what
understand
the
where-
selectmen have said, and we can go petition them
Yeah,
to change it, but,
$10, man.
but anyway, this should be, I think we should leave this as the town shall inform the applicant. Because
Yes,
then we've got
so,
Kathy,
so
who is responsible, who will have whatever. When I informed applicants, because Kathy was away and it was late and all of that good stuff, it's not what you know, it's who. I did it at a post office that was more than cooperative and gave me a receipt for when it had gone out and to remove. But I think really this should be the town shall inform the applicant.
mhm,
The applicant and property owners.
Yes.
mhm.
So we leave it in, and within 100 feet. Or change the
Yeah,
definition of abutters, because abutters is 100 feet in the definitions.
yes, it should be changed to 100 feet.
Okay.
For Mrs. Pendleton.
Peter,
Is that 100 feet from where the improvements are being made or from the property lines?
property
Property
lines.
line,
Whatever happened to the idea of having like a sign in the window or whatever?
Yeah, that's a really good idea.
I mean, that was part of the plan before, was you're just gonna have some kind of colored sign that would inform all the neighbors.
There was a big to-do over that, of whether who would do the sign, and it was finally left that the HPC would do the sign, but I don't know what happened.
But we didn't get approval from the selectmen.
Right.
The selectmen haven't approved anything of this, any change to this at all.
But this was not part of this. It was just a suggestion we had, it wasn't part of the ordinance.
At one point it was, but.
No, and the ordinance has not been changed since it was enacted. Suggestions have been made.
Right.
But nothing has been changed
No.
because the selectman and the former town manager refused to push it forward so that it could be on last year's town meeting. We are unfortunately in the position of being water on a stone.
The sign was part of the suggested,
Yes, but
nothing's been approved.
Should we try to put it back in? I think it's a really good part of the process.
well, let's focus on this now.
Okay, sorry.
You know, we can put it back on like the agenda kind of thing, but let's get through those.
Yeah, I think that's.
okay.
Right.
A butter. The owner of a property sharing a common boundary with another property or within 100 feet of a given piece of property. Does that help?
Yep.
I do not.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Peter. I will send you all of this.
Okay, thank you.
Could you read that to us?
No, we will keep it on the
Could you
confidential.
ask her to leave too?
No, no, no.
No, we just got her after 3 years.
No, I've been.
Thank you,
here
Peter.
many a time.
But not
Yes.
in this guise.
So we have, and then here, a butter, yes, 100
Okay.
feet.
Okay,
That's fine. Yay, you don't have to redefine anything.
Does the butter redefinition include people across the street?
It's 100 feet, yes, it does. Yeah, it says, of a given property, whether or not these properties are separated by a public or private way.
Okay. The hearing shall hold a public meeting. Yeah. Applications under 10.5.2.3, alternate procedure for review of installation or alteration of any exterior sign, another,
Now we're back to that.
yeah. So
We're rolling that.
I'm thinking getting rid of that
Yeah.
as originally was. Now, this is the one, a poster provided by the commission and available at the town office shall be placed by the applicant on the subject property, stating the time and place of the certificate of appropriateness review. That's fine.
I like it.
We need to,
And you need to define poster.
They had actually designed one. James Cogan had put one together.
yes, it was very large,
Okay.
Yeah, we need to
and we
define
had a
poster.
sort of a problem with it. I think we should go back and visit that design though, and see if Jim can, okay. 10.5.2.4. Aren't you all glad I'm about to lose my voice, so I'll have to
Where
adjourn?
are you?
10.5.2.4. I'm abandoning that.
We went to, oh.
You're going backwards?
No,
Yeah, you went backwards.
We're on
I'm going round in circles.
Oh, okay. Letter K.
Please, keep off.
Sorry.
I gotcha, yeah. We actually, how did we
10.6.1.2.
skip over that? No.
I don't know how
We did, you're right.
no, we've done all that.
Yeah, that was
I'm just
property owner.
looking
Yeah,
for
we're done.
wrong-
Yep, okay, we're good.
Okay.
We're over to, the poster, yeah, the other section. Oh, 10.7.1? Are we to that?
6.1.2.
Which we're putting back in, planning and codes department?
Yeah. Point one, point,
10.10.1 things of evaluation.
Wait, where are you?
right.
On page 18.
Okay, page 18,
Yes,
up at the top.
Yep.
Where it's most recent revision, a copy of which is on file in the planning and codes department.
Yep.
And it is also, as of now, I took apart the Secretary of the Interior standards for design.
Yes.
And I separated them out and I made 10 copies of each in full living color. And I put them in file folders. Thanks to the dollar store. By the way, if you ever need file folders.
Alter, or Big Al.
Yeah, Big Al's had 300. I didn't need 300.
Okay.
And it's there. I think we should keep on adding to stuff.
I think that
Adding
is
stuff to
a
it.
wealth of information.
And I also put in, I think I told you that, why windows are important, why materials are important, the list of places that will take or provide salvage,
Yep.
and various other things. Anyway. So,
I'd like to suggest that in this section, if we can, maybe I'm putting the cart before the horse. In the Castine's ordinance, they not only refer to the Secretary of the Interior standards, but they also refer to the Castine Historic Preservation Design Manual. If we are planning on creating a design manual, do we want to plan ahead and make sure that it's part of the ordinance? Because I think the standards are really what
Yeah,
are complicated for people to understand, are really general and vague and.
Well, we don't have one yet, so I think we have to wait until the next year, and maybe we'll have one, and then we can change it then. I mean, how,
or we can
unless
have
you
it
think
as
that
an addendum.
Oh, yes, addendums, love that. That's a good idea.
You know, in effect, the way we have
Yes,
all of that stuff that I put together.
I think that's a good idea.
And I like my new laser printer.
She's a Zoom device.
Really
So do
fast.
you not mention anything in this section, but where do you include the addendum? How do people know when they're going through the standards that there's a design manual?
Well, they'll be coming into the codes enforcement officer and he'll tell them, maybe, I
Unless,
don't know.
unless they download the application.
I know that before, if we try to do that, before we have a design manual, the codes,
That's
I
true.
mean,
They're gonna be
the
like,
ORC is going to say, no.
Okay.
so where's the manual?
Can I make a suggestion? I don't know if you guys have been there yet or spoken to anyone there yet, but Saginaw Preservation Inc. has on their website a list of housing styles, all the various housing styles in Bath. There are like 11 of them or something. And what the windows look like, where the chimney is, what kind of siding the houses had, what colors were there, and they're like bang, 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 bang. You know, these windows were, 6/6. These windows were, whatever. And why?
Right.
So it's kind of interesting to know, that small panes weren't taxed at the same level as big panes and all that kind of jazz. And it's great, and they do it in the schools, and they have people come and do housing tours, and they have all of these things so that people can research their own homes, find out what
Right,
kind
we've
they
got
are.
the dating main houses and their features
Mhm.
here, and it goes from 1770s to the 1950s, and it covers the sashes and the masonry, and the wainscot.
But
the
visual
plaster.
is.
Which is that
really
one?
good.
This is this one. Here, I'll give you one.
Okay. All right, well.
Thank you.
And then, because they're so local, you guys could just pop over there,
Oh,
and
yeah.
they've got all
Yeah,
these
yeah,
things
yeah.
so you can pick up.
I agree.
And they have like a coloring book, they're called school.
Well, we can't do colors, they're not.
No, but they have, you can actually pick them up and so that people can have a visual reference
Yeah.
because they're just.
Well, we're trying to do things like that on our website, we're trying to, gear them on the Facebook page, and we have a plethora on our menu items where people can get, help that way, and we are willing to help anybody who has any questions. That's why we're encouraging them to come in ahead of time.
But to Gina's point and to the design manual for Castine, they're online. And I think people it's easier to figure out visual than, I like that chart, but I think it's complicated.
Oh, I do too, but if you narrow down where your house is,
Yeah.
it gives you like at least a direction, But I like, Castine's that, once we get that manual to.
Also, when you do get the manual, if you on your application, you can also say, see also.
Right,
The manuals is
Yeah.
Okay.
exactly.
Okay,
So-
back to business.
Okay, yeah, because time is
Time is.
marching on.
I think we're, on, 10.7.1.4, page 21.
Yep.
Number 2.
Oh, Lord, here we are in science
It's
again.
signs again. Yay! It's a sign. And again, this should be like outlined, we should, I know people trying to saving room, but painted wall signs and then zip, come around again. Painted wall signs such as business names shall be appropriately designed in conformance with this ordinance. Is this necessary?
Let's think about that one.
Well, I want to think about science a little bit more, because I'm almost
Yeah.
wondering if we need to come up with accepted fonts and things like that.
Heavens no.
God.
Really? Well, it makes it simple for people. They don't have to go like, well, why can't I use,
The the cat farm.
Right, why can't I use that? The bamboo.
Because it
It's not
says
appropriate.
the size of Shelby County.
Right.
Typefaces which are simple, easy to read, and scaled appropriately for both the sign and the building shall be used.
And they must comply with all other historic design standards. So bingo, right there, we shut them down on the cat farm. Love cats.
Um,
Then we get complicated on 10.3.1, 10.7.3.
Demolition or removal,
Where are you?
I think that's 10.7.1.5.
Five.
I think, I went over that and I thought it's boilerplate, but I think it's okay.
Okay.
There was an issue that came up when we were reviewing a property in the past for demolition, and I think there was something problematic in here, and I've got to think about what that was.
Mhm.
I can't think of it right now. I will think about it though.
I remember
Okay.
mulling over onto this section, I'd really like to review this section a little bit more in depth, and then,
Because that was a really difficult review, and I think that there was something missing in here, but I don't remember, try to remember what it was.
Okay,
Oh, I know what it was. I'm sorry, Susan.
Yeah.
Just one quick suggestion. If we're dealing with demolitions or removals, we need more review time.
I would go with that.
We definitely need more than a few weeks to
Yeah.
review before demolition, because that's a really big deal.
Do we have that on here?
okay, so we should add here something on the order of, the commission will have maximum of 6 weeks, 2 months?
I would, yeah, 60 days.
Yeah. Because the last time we had to get that architect to go and review and do what he had to do with the assessment and do a write-up and,
Minimum 60 days, right?
yeah, minimum.
Minimum 60 days.
You don't always have 60 days. That barn was about to fall in on those people.
Yeah, that's another subject we can touch on later, because
Mhm.
you kind of have a heads up when things are gonna happen like that.
Well, they didn't, and they had kids there.
Excuse me, enough. We're not going there. End of discussion.
Okay, minimum 60 days
Yeah.
for review.
Okay, I think it should be a maximum,
Okay.
because we may not need a minimum
All right, I agree with that.
Yeah, if we can get things going,
of 60 days. Okay.
that gives us time. And then time, it also gives them time to do their research as well.
The exemption for substantial hardship. I'm not sure I want to go over this. This is boilerplate, it's state mandated. We cannot do anything less than the state does. It's the same thing that is in the appeals board and everything else.
All right, if it's one.
Okay.
Moving on.
It's state mandated. Okay, so then we're on to 23.
Yeah, which I don't think we need.
You know what? Hold on a second. Where is 10.8.3? Okay, let's make sure I have that.
Mhm.
Just
we're going through all this, although it's not apropos where we are in this review. Because of the challenges we've had with the number of members, do we need to add anything about what constitutes a quorum?
No, it's already there.
Okay,
A quorum is 3.
okay,
It's already in the room.
okay.
Yep.
All right.
Okay. Yay.
That's it.
Thank you, guys. I will get on this as soon as I've
And we'll mull over
Done
the
with
points
it.
that we need to mull over.
um, and just a reminder, the art
Maybe-
show. But
yeah.
also there are a couple of things that we have to do. First of all, are we even getting to this, or are we just going to do it by email?
Yeah, why don't we just do that? I think we're fine,
Okay.
yeah.
Um,
We're even doing well with it. It looks good. We can go either.
I'm gonna try to combine, actually, I'm gonna give it to Donald and say, here, edit.
Yeah, I sent you a combined one
Oh, it was
But
probably
you
before
probably-
I left.
after you printed it.
After I
Yeah.
left. Okay. What did I want to say? Okay, first of all, just for talking purposes, it was wonderful that one of our applicants who came in to get to replace a wooden picket fence with a vinyl picket fence. And this is, I guess, one of the meetings where we were considered obstreperous and rude and whatever, because we all feel very strongly about plastic, which is not approved by our anything. And about 4 days after the meeting, he wrote and said, I've been considering what you and the members have said, and I'm installing a wooden picket fence. We love it. And it's gonna look so much better. One of the reasons for the whole fence thing is,
Frosty.
no. A house, an old house, is like my old face. It's lived in, it's changed, it's a little bit shabby around the edges. A wooden fence moves with the house.
Mhm.
And I think that that's one of the reasons that I feel strongly about either wooden fences or even metal fences.
And
They're not static. And neither are houses. Houses are things to be lived in, they're not museums. But it's how you live in them, I guess, that
And everything needs maintenance. Everything,
Oh,
even our
doesn't
things,
it?
you brush your teeth, you wash your hair,
I. Mm-hmm.
put
And
on
what
a little
good does it
makeup,
do?
you know? So, you scrape your fence, you put some paint on, you know.
Well, with the new stains, it's amazing. I was talking to a fence maker the other day, and he said that he had installed a fence, weathered it, put on the stain after it'd been there for a year.
Mhm.
And this was red cedar, I think. White cedar? No, red
That's
cedar.
it.
And he said that was in 1982. And that was before the really good stains came out.
Yeah.
And he said he's put stain on it once since then.
Mm-hmm.
My house was stained 30 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
longer than that now.
Yeah, it makes a difference. Can I ask a question, or can we pose something, perhaps to the, I don't know who to approach or what to do. I know that the town has pulled their application on the cemetery fence, the old cemetery fence. Is there something, because we are kind of responsible for somewhat kind of upkeep, that they, if they're not replacing it, or they pull their application, can they maintain it? It needs a paint job, it needs a couple of things
It needs a lot less than a whole new fence.
Oh, no, it does not need a whole new fence.
I mean,
It just
that's-
needs a picket here, a picket there, and a fresh paint job.
Yeah,
And I would like them to address that somehow. I don't know who to approach or what to do.
Selectmen.
Public comment.
Yeah, okay.
Or
So if you're
maybe you could talk to, Ted. Ted Stone.
Oh,
Yeah, I got to catch up with him about something else too.
yeah, okay.
Ted. Fence.
Ted, fence.
Cemetery.
Don't snow on my lawn, please.
Oh, they did such a beautiful job out at the cemetery repairing that wall. Absolutely gorgeous.
I'd love to see the fence done, and if they can do it by July 4th, and everybody lines up along it
Yeah.
for the parade,
That would be good.
more to it. And I think we could even get some kids with some whitewash out there, you know.
Tom Sawyer?
Yeah, Tom Sawyer.
Yeah, Tom Sawyer out there, get some
Yeah.
volunteers out there, have a freaking painting party on the cemetery fence. Want to do it cheaply, get your old paint out of your basement, make sure it's good, get your paintbrushes and do it. Town paint party, I'd rather see a town painting party than a construction party. I would.
We could celebrate the end of construction by painting the fence.
Paint the town fence party. We like that.
Is that a possibility, do you think, Judy?
That they will fix it, or you can have a paint party.
Whatever it takes to make it look white and pretty.
They took the money that they were gonna spend on that fence and fixed the other cemetery fence.
Well, they replaced it with plastic.
Right.
Unfortunately.
The one that wasn't in the historic district. So I don't think they have the money for it this year.
Well, we'll paint, go down to building material supply in Lisbon, get really cheap cans of paint and some really cheap paint brushes.
I'm not sure the cheap is gonna be the
Well, no,
answer.
it's less expensive. It's quality paint, but less expensive, like the stain that I got. I saved like a ton.
Before we wrap up, I wanted to thank Judy Flanagan for coming tonight. I
Oh,
really
yeah.
appreciate you being
I
here.
had an invitation.
Was it
Thank you for accepting my offer to dance.
And thank you for staying towards the
Yeah,
end,
thank
because
you.
most people just leave, and we're here. So
Yes.
we like,
Appreciate your interest.
yes, and gentlemen, thank you. We don't know who you are, but thank you. Come again.
This is Peter Gagne, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Who lives on Federal Street?
Yep.
Are you moving? No.
Maybe,
Maybe.
if Jerry can sell our house.
Oh, okay.
Are you in the dark gray house?
We're in Mr. Levinson's old house.
Oh,
Don't you know
yeah.
what that is?
Yes.
It has the wheelchair out front.
It has what? Oh, yes. Oh, you just replaced the stairs up front.
That's a pretty.
Yes.
Your neighbor probably gets a lot of press.
Oh, well, thank you.
Sorry that you're going.
Are you moving in town or going somewhere else?
We're looking out at the Greens place on Willow Lane.
Oh, nice, nice.
Is that Birch Point? Is that?
No, Willow Lane
Oh,
is,
Willow Lane,
Oh, it's like that way. Yeah.
it's a sweet house.
Yeah. Your stairs look nice.
Changing subject here. When you said you'd email it to, reminded me, I had understood that this committee, and I'm afraid you're probably not the only committee in town, has done business over email, town business, commission business. And that is, I know when I got back on the budget committee, they were approving their minutes by email. No, any business
No, we
that
don't do
you
that.
are
We haven't
carrying
done
on,
anything like that.
well, not voting, but discussing it back and forth, or it's really, if you're having a discussion, the three of you get together downtown
No, we know that
and
we can't do that. No.
talk, but that right to know is dear to my heart, that right to know law and that whole,
I think
What we have
also-
done is, for instance, and we will do this by email, this discussion has been a public discussion of changes to this ordinance. I will type up those changes and email them to you and Peter and my committee. and Jackie.
But if you get responses that say, no, I think this is, that is, and then,
Then we will bring them in to the next meeting, which as far as I know, as long as I've been on the commission,
okay.
the last 4 months, that's what's happened.
Okay, so Leslie won't
Yeah.
email you and say, but you know, this would be worded better.
Yeah, she could absolutely do that, but at the next meeting, I will come in and say, Leslie emailed me that this will
I
happen.
disagree that she can absolutely do that. That's
Well, I'll
not
find
my
out
take.
about right to know.
And
You see how long it's taken tonight just to go over what we've done so far. And that has been when we've gone over it before, done the corrections, I've emailed everybody, I've gotten things like, this isn't what we said, and I go back to the minutes and is or isn't. But I've also had, you misspelled this. Where did you get this from? Whatever, and it's come back to the next meeting.
But I really think you're not supposed to. I think it's like why select board does not do that for their minutes. They are at the meeting and it's usually Ben has had some adjustment to those minutes, but.
We change our minutes at the meeting.
Yeah.
No, I'm
We just
just
decided
saying.
to bring them to them.
I'm bringing that up as if you're not aware, it is quite.
It would be good to get the rules of what we can and
Yeah,
can't do, because
There is wording in the planning board manual, I'm sure there's in the selectmen's manual
we'll go
also,
and review it.
about out of meeting conversations.
Okay.
And how many,
Because,
yeah,
I
we
mean,
know
when
that.
we get the COA applications, Judy, like, we have to review them and say, this is missing, we need to contact, Susan, we need to contact the owner and get these photos, or they're missing this thing. So there are some things that we really need to do before meeting to be ready for the meeting. So if we're doing something inappropriate, so we need to know.
It would be good to.
Okay.
They all even have training, which I thought after, I think it was Kim talked at one of the meetings. And my suggestion to this town manager and previous one, call the department heads together, call the committee meeting heads together, and
Yes.
tell them what it's okay to do and not okay.
Yeah,
Right, I think John was saying he was hoping to do something like that this month sometime. And we encourage that, yeah. It only benefits the town more than anything. But I agree with Leslie, if there's an applicant that we have coming in and we're missing pieces, I think the only thing we do is we notify Susan and she notifies the applicant. So that way we don't waste our time and say, oh, you need to go back. You know, oh, we need this, you know, we don't wait then, we need.
So how does that public right to know affect telephone conversations? Are we not allowed to speak to each other? I don't think so.
Well,
No, you can't discuss.
yeah,
business.
you can't.
No, not discuss business, you
Except
can't.
at a.
It's not discussing.
Oh, well, I don't know what you're gonna talk about, but if you're gonna discuss an application on the phone.
If it's incomplete, then, okay, then we'll have them in and we'll politely say, this application is incomplete.
That's what
And
happens,
you can come back in another month.
that's what happens with the planning board.
Well, I think it's dreadful when it's avoidable.
I will send you the wording of the.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That would be good.
Because in our position here as the going over COAs and us being a short build time weather-wise, time is really of the essence, which is why we're meeting twice a month right now. And slowing an applicant down makes them more frustrated. And one example is, somebody said, I wanted to get this stuff done ahead of time, and now that I've been delayed, I can't get this done, and we want to make it as smooth a transition and a smooth action for a COA and help them in their process as much as possible. We encourage them to come in ahead of time, ask us questions before the COA. What do I need? questions, email us if you want, have anything, check the Facebook page, and we're more than willing, and Susan's information at the town office is very helpful as well. So whatever we can do to help them come in and make it a smooth transaction, that's what we're here to do for them.
And to be fair, the planning board has to vote an application complete. You guys don't do that.
We don't have a plan.
So it may not be as vital because you're not taking a public vote.
Well, with the selectmen though, they don't have to declare anything complete, but they can't discuss any of their questions or anything ahead of time. They have to do it at the meeting. Anyway,
I thought that's why we had the HPC, Logan HPC, which you still haven't shown me how to use.
Well, maybe if we have,
I mean, I thought that was the whole point of that.
With our HPC email?
Yeah,
Yeah. Because
that it wouldn't be a problem.
it's not, yeah, the HPC email is public knowledge.
Yeah,
That's our.
and that's what we use for discussing. I mean, I thought that was,
Right,
yeah, is that,
that's
and the
freedom of
town
information.
email address, is that official enough to be?
Yeah,
isn't that for applicants to email you?
no?
For you to discuss things?
that's where, Kathy emails us our agendas, our minutes, and,
Oh, right, but you're not discussing that in between you, among you.
We're not discussing it anyway.
But I mean, in terms of.
We're
how we-
discussing it in that an application comes in, and for whatever reason, they have completely ignored or omitted to submit a photograph of the property. We can't look at that until we have that.
Who gets the application to begin with?
We all do.
Kathy
Kathy
scans
does.
them and emails them.
Theoretically, the codes enforcement officer says this is complete and gives it to Kathy, and she scans them
So then
and gives them to us.
yep,
Okay.
But very often,
He doesn't do it
he's got a lot to do. He's not necessarily around to do the nitpicky of each little thing. And
and
if
stamps we've received.
it's missing when the applicant comes in, we have to say, sorry.
Yeah, that's.
And it's so much nicer to be able to say, because Pam might pick up something missing that we completely miss.
Wasn't that's why Water Street had to come in twice, because they
Yeah.
forgot they didn't have everything we asked for, and we asked John to go get it, and.
For whatever reason.
So,
Yeah, and,
But if Pam were to notice something missing, couldn't you just email it to the applicant? And
No.
say,
No, because then it gets,
Susan has to do it.
yeah,
Well,
it's one change.
Yeah, if the application went to one person and that person said, they forgot to do this, and you emailed and you forgot to do this, that's one thing, but to discuss it among you is not.
No, we just review everything ahead of time, make sure all the T's are crossed, I's are dotted. And if there's something missing that we notice, we notify Susan, Susan notifies the applicant. There's one person who's in communication, not us, otherwise the waters get muddy, and we do not want muddy waters.
Okay, I move that we
Adjourn.
adjourn for the evening.
that's,
Thank
you.
I second the motion.
Yay, all those in favor? Aye.
All right.
We're out of here.
And thank you, Susan.
Thank you again.
Thank you for the flowers.
Alrighty.
You would have laughed your heads off.